2001 Ford Focus ZX3 valve cover replacement. I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive, and I'm going to walk you through that process. So I'm going to get started by just pulling the ignition wires out, all four of them, and kind of flip them over. Next, I'm going to remove the two 8mm bolts here on the timing cover. Next, we want to pop this little vent hose off right here. So pop that off, and after that, then you're going to take out the all the 8mm bolts around the valve cover, so that there's like 4 in the middle, 3 on the side, and 3 on the outer. Remove all of those. Now that you got all the bolts out, with your thumb you can pull the cover back a little bit like that, and with your other hand you can lift the valve cover off and take it out. So now that we got the valve cover off, we need to clean up the surfaces. So I want to wipe away from the cylinder head, so I don't want the dirt and debris to fall into it. And also, as you can see, this in the spark plugs here, they filled up with oil. So what I'm going to do to initially get it out is I'm going to put rags over it, and I'm going to use compressed set up something like this. I'll cover it up with rags like this and blow the oil up into the rags with my air blower here, and that'll get most of it out. And then I'll use brake clean, and I'll spray it in here. After I blow out most of it, then I'll use some brake clean like this, and I'll spray it in there, and then I'll blow it out again, and I'll do that several times until it looks as clean as I can possibly get it. Now that you got the spark plug ports pretty much cleaned out, now if there's any silicone or anything like that, you want to scrape that off on the corners here, or the cam lobes here. Go ahead and scrape all that off. And I also wanted to make sure that when you're doing this with the compressed air, good idea to wear safety glasses. You don't want to blow any of the oil or brake clean into your eyes. Okay, now after you get that cleaned up, you also want to blow out the thread holes. You don't want any liquid in there, oil or brake clean in there, because when you thread your bolts back in it, it won't compress the liquid, and it possibly could crack the cylinder head. So you want to make sure that that you blow all the liquid out of the threads. So now we're ready to remove the old gasket from the valve cover, clean up the valve cover itself, and then reinstall our new gasket. Now that the valve cover's all cleaned up and the new gasket's installed into the cover, go ahead and put a little black silicone on the corners of the cam lobes, like that, and then you can go ahead and put your valve cover back on. Okay, now that I got my cover back on, I went ahead and started all my bolts by hand, and I'm going to use my little electric gun, and I'm just going to run all the bolts down until they touch, until they kind of bottom out, and then I'll torque it in 2 passes. And when I torque it, I'll start in the center, so I'll do the center 2 first, and then I'll do the outer 2, the center, and then the outer 2 over here, the center and the outer 2. And I'll do it twice, one at 18 foot-pounds, or inch-pounds, I'm sorry, and then the other one at 61 inch-pounds after the second pass. So now you can go ahead and reinstall your vent tube here, and then go ahead and put your 8mm back in the cover. Now you can go ahead and reinstall your ignition wires. If they were soaked in oil, if they're not too bad, you can clean them off with soap and water and make sure that they're thoroughly dry. But if they were really badly soaked and they deformed the boots or anything like that, then I recommend replacing the ignition wires. So go ahead and put those back on. Now that those are back on, that pretty much completes the job of replacing the valve cover gasket on a 2001 Ford Focus ZX3. I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive, and I'd like to thank you for watching my videos and remind you to subscribe for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again.